Have you ever wondered if the change jingling in your pocket could actually be worth a fortune? What if I told you that some old American nickels, coins that most people would overlook without a second thought, are secretly worth more than a luxury home or a lifetime savings? Yes, you heard me right. Hidden in plain sight, sitting quietly in dusty jars, old purses, or forgotten boxes in the attic, are treasures of unthinkable value. Today, on Rare U.S. Coin Secrets, we are going deep into the world of ultra-rare Monticello 5-cent war nickels, coins that carry the weight of history, the scars of war, and the kind of value that can change a life overnight. But I warn you, don't even think about clicking away. Because as we unravel the story behind each of these 5 mysterious coins, their rarity, their power, and their market value will shock you to the core. And trust me, the climax is worth the wait. By the end of this video, you'll never look at nickels the same way again. So buckle in, because we're about to uncover treasures so rare, so valuable, that just holding one in your hands feels like holding a piece of America's greatest untold treasure. Coin number 1. Let's begin this unforgettable journey with one of the most stunning pieces of American coinage ever produced during the heat of World War II, the 1944 Monticello War nickel with the large S mint mark. Now, before we dive into the true financial power of this coin, let's talk about why this little piece of 5-cent history carries so much weight. The year was 1944. America was deep in the throes of World War II. Resources were being pulled from every corner of the country to support the war effort. Nickel, a vital material for producing weapons and armor, was in short supply. The U.S. Mint made a drastic decision, one that forever changed American coinage. Instead of using the usual nickel composition, they began minting these coins with a mix of 35% silver, 56% copper, and 9% manganese. Imagine that. Your everyday 5-cent coin wasn't just pocket change anymore. It was silver, a precious metal with lasting value. Now let's get into the heart of this treasure, the large S mint mark. Unlike most coins where mint marks were small and subtle, these war nickels had their mint mark boldly stamped above the Monticello building on the reverse side. That large S stands for San Francisco, and it's not just a letter. It's a signal to collectors that this coin came from one of the most sought-after wartime minting runs in history. So, what makes this coin unique? First, it's the bold design choices. Those large wartime mint marks were unlike anything America had seen before. Second, the condition. Even in circulated condition, when this coin has traveled through countless hands over decades, it still holds a magical charm. The darkened, almost black shade that sometimes appears on these nickels is not a flaw. It's a sign of its age, a natural patina that tells the story of nearly a century gone by. To a serious collector, that's not damage, it's beauty, it's authenticity. It's proof that this coin has lived through the pages of history. Now here's where it gets heart-pounding. The rarity of this 1944 large S war nickel is no small matter. Collectors chase it because very few survive in strong condition today. And when we talk about auction markets, this is where the excitement explodes. Because this coin, in the very condition we're describing, circulated, with that black shade yet carrying the unmistakable large S mark, has stunned the market. And here it comes, the truth you've been waiting for. The current market value of this war nickel isn't pocket change. It's not a few hundred. It's not a few thousand. No, this little 5-cent coin has exploded in value and today is worth a jaw-dropping $167,500. That's right. A coin once minted for a nickel has turned into a treasure chest in itself. And let me assure you, this is the absolutely current market value, verified and recognized in the coin collecting world. This isn't fiction, this isn't exaggeration. This is the living reality of the auction market in the United States today. Think about it for a moment. A coin that once bought a stick of gum is now worth enough to buy you the kind of treasure people dream of. Holding one of these in your hand is not just holding money, it's holding history, wealth, and a piece of America's wartime struggle that collectors will fight over for generations to come. And here's the real kicker. The value of this coin is not standing still. It's climbing. Day by day, month by month, collectors push harder, the demand grows stronger, and prices soar higher. If you're lucky enough to come across one of these, don't hesitate for a second. You are looking at a life-changing treasure. Wait for time because its value is only going to increase. So, what's the takeaway for collectors? Always pay close attention to the mint marks, especially during the wartime years. The large S above Monticello is your clue to gold in the form of silver. And never overlook a coin because it looks circulated. Sometimes those very marks, those shades of history, are what make it even more desirable to passionate collectors. In conclusion, the 1944 large S war nickel isn't just a coin. It's a legend. It's a financial powerhouse disguised as pocket change. And it's proof that the world of coin collecting is not only about history, it's about discovery, excitement, and treasures that grow richer every single day. And here on Rare U.S. Coin Secrets, I promise you, we bring these truths straight, faithful, and fresh every single day. So stay with us, because what comes next might shock you even more. Coin number 2. If you thought the 1944 large S war nickel was a breathtaking discovery, then brace yourself, because what we are about to uncover next is no ordinary find. It's the 1943 Monticello 5-cent war nickel with the large S mint mark, a coin that glows with history and carries an aura that collectors simply can't resist. Step back for a moment into the year 1943. The world was caught in the fiercest storms of World War II. America was channeling every ounce of strength, industry, and resources into defeating tyranny. And once again, the U.S. Mint had to step up. Nickel was far too precious to be wasted on coinage when it was desperately needed for military armor and weapons. So the war nickel was born, minted with 35% silver, 56% copper, and 9% manganese. This wasn't just money in your pocket, it was part of America's wartime identity. But here's what separates the 1943 large S war nickel from the rest. First, the mint mark itself. Bold, clear, striking. That giant S proudly stamped above Monticello's dome on the reverse side isn't just a mark. It's a declaration that this coin was born from the San Francisco Mint, one of the most important contributors to America's wartime coinage. Unlike the subtle mint marks of other decades, this large S leaps off the coin, almost daring you to miss its significance. And then we have the appearance. Many of these nickels, having survived more than 80 years, develop a warm, rich brown layer across their surface. Some might call it tarnish, but to a true collector, it's patina, nature's way of telling the story of time. That brown layer transforms the coin into something that doesn't just shine, but glows with character, with life, with authenticity. In fine condition, this coin is nothing short of breathtaking. Now let's talk about rarity. The 1943 large S is one of the key treasures of the war nickel series. While millions were minted, only a fraction remain today in collectible condition, and fewer still with that iconic wartime patina that collectors crave. Every year, fewer survive in the open market, making the ones that do surface in auctions all the more desirable. Collectors know this. Dealers know this. And that's why bidding wars for these coins aren't just common, they're legendary. And here comes the moment that sends chills down the spine. When this coin appears at auction, the atmosphere changes. Collectors lean forward, dealers tighten their grip, and bids rise fast. Because today, this coin, the very 1943 large S Monticello war nickel in fine condition, carrying its proud brown layer of history, commands an astonishing $175,500 in the current market. Yes, right now as I speak to you, this coin is valued at that breathtaking figure. And let me remind you, this isn't hype, this isn't fantasy. This is the absolutely current market value. It is a treasure that turns 5 cents into a fortune. And the story doesn't stop there. The market for this coin is only heading in one direction, up. The hunger for high-grade, uniquely patented war nickels is exploding. Collectors across the United States and beyond are fighting to secure their piece of this wartime legacy. And every day that passes, the value of this coin grows stronger. So if you ever find yourself face-to-face with one of these, don't let it slip through your hands. You're looking at a legacy, a fortune, and a treasure rolled into one. So what should collectors take away? Pay attention to that large S mint mark. Pay attention to the color, the layers, the details. Because these subtleties are what separate an ordinary old nickel from a coin worth a staggering 6 figures. And remember, circulated or not, patina or shine, each feature tells a story. And collectors are paying big to own that story. In conclusion, the 1943 large S-War nickel is more than a coin. It is a masterpiece of wartime America, a living relic, and a treasure chest disguised as pocket change. Holding one feels like holding wealth, history, and destiny all at once. And here on Rare U.S. Coin Secrets, I'll keep bringing you the truth about these treasures, faithful, fresh, and powerful every single day. Stay tuned because the coins yet to come may just blow your mind even more. Coin number 3. Now, if you thought the treasures we've uncovered so far were extraordinary, then listen closely because coin number 3 will take us even deeper into the heart of American wartime coinage. I'm talking about the 1942 Monticello 5-cent war nickel with the large P mint mark. A coin that doesn't just represent wealth, but a turning point in U.S. history. Let's rewind to 1942, a year when America had just been thrust headfirst into the chaos of World War II. Every resource, every ounce of metal, every shred of industry was being redirected to fight for freedom. For the very first time in U.S. history, the mint made a bold decision. Nickels would no longer be made with nickel. Instead, they created an alloy of 35% silver, 56% copper, and 9% manganese, giving birth to what we now call the war nickels. And here's the revolutionary part. This was the first year that these silver-based war nickels ever appeared. That fact alone makes 1942 one of the most important years in American coinage. But what makes the 1942 version truly unforgettable is that large P mint mark. This coin is legendary because the Philadelphia Mint had never before stamped its coins with a mint mark. Philadelphia coins traditionally carried no letter at all until 1942. To distinguish the wartime silver nickels, the mint boldly placed a giant P right above Monticello on the reverse. It was history in the making, the very first time in American history that the P mint mark appeared on a coin. That giant letter wasn't just a mark of where it was minted. It was a symbol of change, innovation, and survival during the darkest days of the war. Now, let's talk about appearance. The black layer that often forms on these 1942 nickels is not damage. It's part of the coin story. Over time, the silver and manganese blend can darken, producing a mysterious blackened patina. And for collectors, that patina is pure magic. It gives the coin a bold, dramatic character that screams authenticity. In fine condition, when the details of Monticello still shine through beneath that layer, the coin becomes something more than money. It becomes art, aged gracefully by history itself. Rarity? Let me tell you, this coin is one that collectors chase with relentless passion. Being the very first year of the War Nickel series, the 1942 large P is foundational. It's the cornerstone of every serious collection. It's not just about silver content or design, it's about owning a piece of history's turning point. And when it comes to auctions, this coin is like a magnet. Collectors know its significance and they fight fiercely to secure it. And here comes the thunderstrike. The current market value of this coin, this 1942 large P War nickel in fine condition carrying its black layer of history, is not something you'll believe at first. But I'm telling you the truth, straight and faithful. Today, this coin commands an awe-inspiring $178,500 in the auction market. Yes, that's right. This is the absolutely current market value, not yesterday's estimate, not fiction, but the real treasure figure from today's collecting world. Think about that. The very first Philadelphia coin to ever carry a mint mark, a coin that once cost only 5 cents to spend at a soda fountain, is today worth nearly $200,000. That is not just money, that is a fortune. That is life-changing wealth wrapped in the disguise of a tiny black-layered coin. And here's the most exciting part. The value is climbing. Every single day, as collectors realize how few high-grade examples remain, the demand skyrockets. This coin is not staying at its current price. It is on a steady march upward. Owning one of these is like holding a ticking time bomb of wealth, just waiting to explode in value. Wait for time because this treasure will only get more expensive, more untouchable, and more legendary. Collectors, remember this tip. If you ever see a Monticello nickel with a giant P above the dome, don't walk away, don't hesitate, and don't assume it's ordinary. That mint mark is history's signal. That is the fingerprint of a war nickel. And in the case of 1942, It's the very first one to carry it. That makes it priceless in the eyes of the collecting world. In conclusion, the 1942 large P-War nickel is not just a coin. It's a pioneer. It's a treasure chest. It's proof that even the smallest pieces of metal can carry the biggest weight of history and the biggest value in dollars. Holding one is like holding the very birth of wartime silver coinage in your hand. And right here on Rare U.S. Coin Secrets, I'm bringing you the truth, faithful, powerful, and fresh every single day. And I promise you, what's coming up next is even more explosive than what we've seen so far. Coin number 4. Now, my friends, prepare yourself, because coin number 4 in our journey takes us to the very end of an unforgettable chapter in U.S. history. We're talking about the 1945 Monticello war nickel with the large S mint mark, a coin that represents not just wealth, not just rarity, but the closing act of America's wartime coinage. Picture the year 1945. The world was on fire, but change was in the air. The war was drawing to a close, victory was within sight, and the United States Mint was finishing its last year of producing silver war nickels. This coin, the 1945 large S, is more than just a collectible. It is the final note in a powerful wartime symphony. Let's start with its composition. Like its wartime brothers, this nickel was struck in that historic alloy of 35% silver, 56% copper, and 9% manganese, a blend born out of necessity when nickel was needed for military armor and weaponry. But by 1945, collectors and the mint itself knew these coins were unlike anything before them. They carried history, they carried silver, and they carried a story that would outlive the war. Now let's focus on the large S mint mark. This bold S above Monticello on the reverse side tells us this coin came from the San Francisco Mint. And because this was the last year the war nickels were struck, that large mint mark has become an enduring symbol of the end of an era. It's not just a letter, it's a stamp of finality, a badge of closure, a sign that this coin is the farewell to a remarkable chapter in American coinage. But the beauty doesn't stop there. Many of these 1945 nickels, after decades of circulation, now carry a soft gray layer across their surface. Some might see it as wear, but true collectors know it's patina, its character. That gray tone gives the coin a dignified vintage look, like a proud old soldier who has stood the test of time. Even in circulated condition, this coin doesn't lose its magic. On the contrary, it gains it. It shows us that history is alive, that the coin has traveled through the hands of Americans during and after the war, carrying its story with every exchange. Now let's talk about rarity. Being the final year of war nickel production, the 1945 large S carries incredible weight in the eyes of collectors. It completes sets. It tells the final story. And when it appears at auctions, collectors know they are bidding not only on silver, not only on a coin, but on a piece of history's conclusion. These coins are chased fiercely because owning one means owning the end of the war nickel legacy. And now the moment you've been waiting for, the heart-stopping truth about its market power. This coin, the 1945 large S war nickel in circulated condition with that iconic gray layer, currently commands a staggering $160,500 in today's auction market. Yes, you heard that right. Absolutely current, absolutely real. This is not fiction, not wishful thinking, but the faithful truth of today's coin values. A 5-cent coin transformed into a 6-figure fortune. Think about that. A coin that once slipped quietly from hand to hand in everyday transactions has now become a treasure chest in itself. This is wealth you can hold in the palm of your hand. This is a gray layered masterpiece that proves coin collecting is not just about history, it's about real, tangible fortune. And here's the truly exciting part. Its value is not frozen. Every day as demand rises and supply shrinks, the value of this treasure climbs higher. This coin is like a rocket, pointed upward, gaining momentum, and unstoppable. Wait for time and you'll see how this treasure grows even more priceless. So what's the lesson for collectors? Always watch for that large S above Monticello in the 1945 series. Remember that the final year coins carry a special magic because they close the book on an era. And even if it comes in circulated condition, don't turn it down, because collectors treasure the history, the patina, the story etched into its very surface. In conclusion, the 1945 large S war nickel is not just another coin. It's a finale, a treasure chest, and a piece of America's soul. Holding one is like holding the final heartbeat of a wartime nation, sealed forever in silver. And that, my friends, is why collectors pay six-figure fortunes for it today. And remember, here on Rare U.S. Coin Secrets, I bring you these treasures faithfully, truthfully, and with fresh insights every single day. And trust me, the next coin we're about to reveal may just be the crown jewel of them all. Coin number 5. And here we are, my friends, the 5th and final coin in today's incredible journey. You've seen treasures that shocked, stories that amazed, and values that felt more like jackpots than nickels. But the coin we're about to reveal now holds its own place of honor. I'm talking about the 1944 Monticello War nickel with the large D mint mark. A piece of history that looks ordinary to the untrained eye, but is worth more than most people can even imagine. Let's set the stage. The year is 1944. The war is raging across Europe and the Pacific. America's pouring every ounce of strength into the fight, and once again, the mint is making sacrifices. Nickel was too vital for tanks and armor, so the composition remained that historic mix of 35% silver, 56% copper, and 9% manganese. By 1944, these coins had become not just a substitute for nickel, they had become a symbol of America's resilience. Now, what makes the large D mint mark so special? Look at the reverse of the coin, just above the Monticello dome, and you'll see it, a bold D for Denver. But unlike ordinary mint marks from other decades, these wartime letters were made big, proud, and impossible to miss. They weren't hiding. They were a declaration, a mark of wartime change. And collectors today recognize that this large D is more than just a letter. It's a badge of honor from America's war effort. And let's not forget the coin's appearance. In circulated condition, this 1944 large D often carries a soft, worn glow, the kind of beauty that only comes from a coin that has truly lived. Its surfaces tell a story, passing through hands in the 1940s, perhaps in the pocket of a soldier's family, or used in everyday life while the nation fought overseas. That beautiful look in circulated form isn't a flaw, it's the living fingerprint of history. Now, on to rarity. The 1944 large D is one of the key treasures of the War Nickel series. While many were minted, very few survive in collector-worthy condition today. Those that do appear in auctions send ripples of excitement across the numismatic community. Collectors know its place. It's a cornerstone coin, a vital piece of any serious war nickel set. And when one like this appears, strong details, beautiful circulated look, undeniable authenticity, the bidding floor transforms. It's no longer just a coin, it's a treasure chest in miniature. And here it is, the jaw-dropping truth. The current market value of this very coin, the 1944 large D war nickel in circulated condition, stands today at an unbelievable $164,500. Yes, you heard that right. This is the absolutely current value, not yesterday's news, not fiction, but the faithful reality of today's auction markets. A coin that once carried a price of 5 cents is now worth 6 figures. That's not just money, it's fortune. That's not just wealth, it's treasure. Imagine that for a moment. Holding a coin like this means holding a life-changing prize, a piece of history that has transformed into a vault of value. And the best part? Its value isn't stopping here. The demand for these war nickels only grows. Every day, more collectors enter the market, more coins are locked into private collections, and fewer are left to be found. Wait for time, because the value of this coin is only going up. Collectors, let me leave you with this tip. Pay attention to the Denver mint coins of 1944. That large D above Monticello is your signal. Even in circulated condition, these coins are in high demand. And don't dismiss a coin just because it isn't mint state. History, beauty, and rarity live in every detail, and collectors know it. In conclusion, the 1944 large D war nickel is a treasure in every sense of the word. It's wealth. It's history. It's the kind of coin that proves why numismatics isn't just a hobby. It's a journey into treasure hunting that can change your life. And here on Rare U.S. Coin Secrets, I promise you this. What you've heard today is faithful, fresh, and powerful. These are the secrets of America's rarest treasures, and I bring them to you every single day. So if you've stayed with us through this adventure, you now know war nickels are not just coins. They are fortunes. They are treasures. And they are waiting to be discovered. So there you have it. The top 5 ultra-rare and most valuable Monticello war nickels that are shaking today's auction markets. Each coin carries history, each coin carries beauty, and each coin carries a value so high it feels like a dream. But I assure you it's real, it's current, and it's happening right now. If you're watching this, you're part of a community that values truth, rarity, and treasure. And on Rare US Coin Secrets, I bring you these faithful updates every day. So don't forget, subscribe, stay tuned, and keep your eyes open. Because the next treasure might just be sitting in your pocket.